about where you all were at in your life journeys back in 1980? I was discoing.
Was this a comedy show?
I was not. For not being a milestone year, 44 is a nice symmetrical number, you know?
44. Who was the 44th president of these United States?
Somebody,
Ding, 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 ding.
somebody got it.
Yeah, Barack Obama.
Okay, we'll make it a little harder now. How about the 44th state admitted to the Union?
Ooh.
44th, so we're getting close to the end.
I think they need a hint.
Utah.
Alaska.
Not Alaska, but Utah's not too far off. It is a western state.
Nevada?
First state, well, the state that wrote right into its constitution that women would have the right to vote.
Wyoming.
Somebody
Yeah.
got that.
What TV show had a character called Agent 44? Get Smart, correct. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, for you sports-minded people in the crowd, what famous baseball slugger wore number 44? I'm sorry, say that again.
Robinson?
No, not Jackie Robinson.
Babe Ruth?
Hank Aaron. Who said it? Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron. There was also Reggie Jackson, for those of you who were ever New York Yankee fans. And
Make your feelings known here.
Yankees. Willie McCovey was 44. There were a few 44s.
What basketball player who just had his college point scoring record eclipsed by Caitlin Clark wore number 44? Basketball player.
Pete Maravich, I hear.
Oh!
Are you 44 years old? Is this why you're participating like this?
Supposed to cue them?
Okay, person over there.
Does anybody care about Pete Maravich? Oh, Jane does.
Well, now that I won.
You know what you won? You won a trip to Hawaii at your own expense. All right, so I got a great question for you. What's the 44th letter of the alphabet?
44. There aren't 44 letters.
Oops.
Yeah.
Okay. The number 44 is made up of a pair of fours, right? So, what's it called if you roll a pair of fours on dice? Snake eyes is if you roll a pair of ones.
Snake eyes.
Snake eyes is if you roll a pair of ones.
I know that one.
Pair of fours,
Double. Lucky.
it's called a square pair.
Oh.
Some
that makes
places
sense.
call it windows, but a square pair.
Okay, so 44 is two fours, right? Let's just talk about fours.
You're not going to talk about four-letter words now, are you?
No. I can think of 4 musical groups with the word "four" in their names. Can you name at least one of them?
Four
seasons. Four seasons.
Four tops.
Four
Four
times.
tops, 4 seasons.
There were those guys who never got to graduate. Who were they?
Four freshmen.
The 4 freshmen.
And the ones who were from like England or Liverpool or something.
Beatles.
Beatles?
There are 4 of them, but
Well, they were the
the
Fab
4,
Four. They were the Fab
the
Four.
Fab 4, but the 4 lads.
Letters.
4 lads. I never heard of myself. She came up with 4 lads. She probably just made them up.
Yeah, like the 44th letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 44th letter of the alphabet. She puts it up so I can insult her. Anyway, there is one more group, musical group, with the number 4.
Four seasons.
Oh, we already-
Yeah!
The Four Seasons Theater Group.
Yeah,
We're
you
gonna
got
kick
it.
this off for us today. When the music's done, stick around for some cake. Because we're doing it all
For
you. Have fun. Yeah, you need real education.
Come on and hear, come on and hear Alexander's ragtime band. Come on and hear, come on and hear. It's the best band in the land. They can play a bugle call like you never heard before. So natural that you wanna go to war. That's just the bestest band. What am, honey lamb? Come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand. Up to the man, up to the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you care to hear the Swanee River played in ragtime, come on and hear, come on and hear Alexander's ragtime band. Welcome to this great American songbook celebration of the music of Irving Berlin. We are going to be sharing some of our favorite Irving Berlin tunes with you. We hope that maybe you'll find a few tunes that you recognize, and maybe you'll find a few new tunes to fall in love with as well. That's just the bestest band. What am, honey lamb? Come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand. Up to the man, up to the man, who's the leader of the band. And if you care to hear the Swanee River played in ragtime, come on and hear, come on and hear Alexander's ragtime band. Thank you so much for that warm welcome on this decidedly gloomy-looking spring day. My name is Tamara Broniano. I am proud to be the outreach coordinator for Four Seasons Theater. Four Seasons Theater is a local company. We are this year celebrating 20 years of bringing musical theater entertainment to Dane County audiences. And I kind of wish now that I had some nice numbers jokes to riff on 20 for you, since we got such a nice type 5 there, about 40 years through our program. That was fantastic. Well, and as I said, we're going to be exploring with you today part of the Great American Songbook, specifically the music of the great Irving Berlin. Now, the story of Irving Berlin is a quintessentially American success story. Born Israel Berlin, the youngest of 6 children of a Jewish cantor, he arrived at Ellis Island at the age of 5. His family had fled persecution in Russia to join the melting pot of immigrants on New York City's Lower East Side. Now, after his father's death, a 14-year-old Izzy struck out on his own, first earning coins as a busker, singing in bar rooms. And as he grew older, he found work as a boomer. Now, a boomer at this time was someone who was paid to sit in the audience of a Broadway show, applaud loudly, and try to get the people around him to sing along with the refrains to the popular songs. By age 16, he had landed work as a singing waiter in a Chinatown restaurant, where he would charm the patrons there with popular ballads and blue parodies of songs. It was during this time, during his work as a singing waiter, that he first began to teach himself to play the piano, and he first began to write his own songs. Now, this was an era in which the music business made money not from recordings, but from the sale of sheet music. Sheet music that was cranked out quickly in a part of New York City affectionately called Tin Pan Alley. So it was in Tin Pan Alley that Irving Berlin began his career. By age 21, he had a job writing for a music publishing house. And by age 23, he had his first hit, that song that began our program. Alexander's Ragtime Band earned him $30,000 in royalties just off that one song. And bringing that forward into 2024 dollars, that's about $1 million. So while Irving Berlin was a brilliant songwriter, he was also, as I said, a self-taught pianist. He couldn't read music, and he was most comfortable, rather curiously, playing in the key of F sharp, meaning, if you're familiar with the keyboard, that means playing primarily on the black keys of the keyboard. Now, he employed musical secretaries to write out the music that he composed, and he also used an ingenious invention to help him in his songwriting, something called a transposing piano. He called his affectionately the Buick. Now, on the Buick, there was a lever on the side that would literally shift which strings the keys are striking as he would play, so that even though he was playing everything in F sharp, he could transpose it into any key he needed to so that his secretaries could notate it in the correct key. So we'd like to begin our program right now with a song, a love song to Irving Berlin's favorite instrument. You can sing.
Thank you. As a child, I went wild when a band played. How I ran to the man when his hands swayed. Clarinets were my pets, and a slide trombone I thought was simply divine. But today, when they play, I could hiss them. Every bar is a jar to my system. But there's one musical instrument that I call mine. I love a piano, I love a piano, I love to hear somebody play upon a piano, a grand piano. It simply carries me away. I know a fine way to treat a Steinway. I love to run my fingers over the keys, the ivories, and with the pedal. I love to meddle, not only music from Broadway. I'm so delighted when I'm invited to hear some long-haired genius play. So you can keep your fiddle and your bow, give me a P-I-A-N-O-O-O. I love to step right beside an upright or a high-tone baby grand. When a green tetrazine starts to warble, I grow cold as an old block of marble. I allude to the crude little party singer who doesn't know when to pause. At her best, I detest the soprano, but I run to the one at the piano. I simply love the accompaniment, and that's because I love a piano. I love a piano. I love to sit right down and play upon a piano, a grand piano. It simply carries me away. I know a fine way to treat a Steinway. I love to run my fingers over the keys, the ivories, and with the pedal. I love to meddle, not only music from Broadway. I'm so delighted when I'm invited to hear a long-haired genius play. So you can keep your fiddle and your bow. Give me a P-I-A-N-O-O-O. I love to step right beside the bright or a high-toned baby grand.
So as the undisputed king of Tin Pan Alley, Irving Berlin was courted by producers to write for Broadway musical reviews. Now, the great Ziegfeld normally used songs by multiple writers in his reviews, but for the 1919 edition of the Ziegfeld Follies, he staged a show containing practically all Irving Berlin tunes. And in fact, Irving Berlin's song from that 1919 review would go on to become the theme song of the Ziegfeld Girls. A pretty girl is like a melody. This next song is from Irving Berlin's last big contribution to the Ziegfeld Follies, the 1927 edition of the show. Here's Shakin' the Blues Away.
There's an old superstition way down south. Everybody believes that trouble won't stay if you shake it away. When they hold a revival way down south, everybody with care and trouble that day tries to shake it away. Shaking the blues away, unhappy news away. If you're blue, it's easy to shake off your cares and troubles. Telling the blues to go, they may refuse to go, but as a rule, go if you'll shake them away. Do like the others do, listening to a preacher way down south. They shake their bodies so to and fro. With every shake, a lucky break, proving that there's a way to keep cares away. If you would lose or weary, we'll shake them away. Shaking the blues away, unhappy news away. If you were blue, it's easy to shake off your cares and troubles. Telling the blues to go, they may refuse to go, but as a rule, they'll go if you'll shake them away. Do like the others do, listening to a preacher way down south. They shake their bodies so to and fro. With every shake, a lucky break, proving that there's a way to chase your cares away. But as a rule, they'll go if you'll shake them away.
So while Irving Berlin was a talented songwriter, he was also a savvy businessman. He was one of the first songwriters to use vertical integration to consolidate his empire. He wrote the songs, he owned the publishing house that published the songs, and he owned the theater where he played the revues that popularized the songs. And when the radio became a big driver of the musical industry, he was on top of that change as well. This next song was Irving Berlin's first big radio-driven hit, a song that was eventually recorded by many different artists, including Bing Crosby, Billie Holiday, Dinah Washington, Andy Williams, and Aretha Franklin.
You can't stop people from talking, and they're talking, my dear. And the things they're saying fill my heart with fear. Now I could never believe them, say it isn't so.
So of all the musicals that Irving Berlin created for Broadway and for Hollywood, probably the best known one today is his 1954 film, White Christmas, which featured Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, and the great Rosemary Clooney. So this next lovely ballad is taken from that film.
When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep, and I fall asleep, counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I think of when I had none at all, and I fall asleep, counting my blessings. I think about a nursery, and I picture curly heads, and one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. If you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep, counting your blessings. I think about a nursery, and I picture curly heads, and one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. If you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep, counting your blessings.
So Irving Berlin is a complicated figure, I think, when we think about racism. Some of his early songs rely on racial stereotypes from that era and are definitely offensive to the modern ear. But there's also evidence that Berlin grew in his support of racial equality over time. His 1927 song, Puttin' on the Ritz, originally poked fun at African Americans in Harlem dressed to the nines. But the song was also featured in a 1930 film of the same name that featured the first racially integrated ensemble in a Hollywood musical, an important first at a time when the entertainment industry, like the rest of the country, was highly segregated. And Irving Berlin later revised his own lyrics to the song, acknowledging that the original ones were offensive. We also know that he championed African American performers at a time when they were routinely treated very differently from white performers. His 1933 Broadway revue entitled As Thousands Cheer featured the great Ethel Waters, the lone African American headliner in an otherwise white cast of lead performers. Now, during the show's tryout in Philadelphia, 3 of the white stars told Irving Berlin that they would not take their bows with Ethel Waters. Well, Berlin told them he would respect their wishes, and there would be no bows. Well, the next night, the stars all bowed together. We begin this set with a song from that 1933 revue, Heat Wave.
You where to go to. Why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes, or cutaway coat, perfect fits. Putting on the ritz. Strolling up the avenue so happy. All dressed up just like an English chappie. Very snappy, come nuts mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks or umbrellas in their mitts. Putting on the ritz. If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes or cutaway coat, perfect fits. Putting on the ritz. Dressed up like a $1,000,000 trooper. Try mighty hard to look like Gary Cooper. Super duper, come nuts mix where Rockefellers walk with sticks or umbrellas in their mitts. Putting on the ritz, putting on the ritz, putting on the ritz.
In an interview that Irving Berlin gave to the American magazine in 1920, he offered 9 rules of songwriting. And I think rule number 8 says a lot about what makes Irving Berlin's songs so great and so long-lasting. Rule number 8 says, make the song as simple as possible. Irving Berlin's songs are singable, the lyrics are plain spoken. He distilled his writing down into the simplest, most elegant creations possible. And this next ballad, written in 1923, I think is a great example of that elemental simplicity of melody and lyric that made Irving Berlin's songs so great.
Gone is the romance that felt so divine. It's over and cannot be mended. You must go your way and I must go mine. But now that our
wonderful performers we're enjoying here this afternoon. Starting from this end, Miss Deja Mason, Miss Sarah Strike, Miss Sarah Blakesley, Miss Lisa Erdman, and at the piano, the fabulous, the incomparable, the I can't live without her, Joy Balvin. It's one of my great joys in life to make Joy feel embarrassed. Yes. So, as a young man, Irving Berlin had only just become an American citizen officially when he was drafted into the Army to serve in World War I. Well, he was already a very successful and famous songwriter at this time, but still, he reported for duty and was stationed at Camp Upton in Long Island, New York. Now, the Army wasn't stupid. They knew what they had. So they recruited him to write a musical review to raise funds for a community center on the Army base there. And Irving Berlin jumped at the chance to be able to contribute to the effort using his talents, particularly since his superior officers promised him that he could keep his regular songwriting hours and not have to get up with the bugle call at 5 a.m. with the rest of the troops. So this next song, which was included in that World War I musical review, I think reflects Irving Berlin's feelings about the morning bugle call. The other day I chanced to meet a soldier friend of mine. He'd been in camp for several weeks and he was looking fine. His muscles had developed and his cheeks were rosy red. I asked him how he liked the life and this is what he said. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I'd love to stay in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugle call. You've gotta get up, you've gotta get up, you've gotta get up this morning. Someday I'm going to murder the bugler. Someday they're going to find him dead. I'll amputate his reveille and step upon it heavily and spend the rest of my life in bed. The bugler in the Army is the luckiest of men. He wakes the boys at 5 and then goes back to bed again. He doesn't have to blow again until the afternoon. If everything goes well with me, I'll be a bugler soon. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I'd love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugle call. You've gotta get up, you've gotta get up, you've gotta get up this morning. Oh boy, the minute the battle is over. Oh boy, the minute the foe is dead. I'll put my uniform away and move to Philadelphia and spend the rest of my life in bed. So when the United States entered World War II, Irving Berlin volunteered to produce another all-Army musical review to bolster morale at home and to benefit the Army Emergency Relief Fund. Now, Irving Berlin pulled a few songs from his World War I review and reused them, including that song that I just sang, which Irving Berlin himself sang in every performance. Berlin personally recruited professional performers who had either already joined up or had been drafted into the Army, both white and African American performers, forming in effect the first racially integrated unit in the U.S. Army. The show, This is the Army, opened on Broadway in 1942, with a 359-man all-Army cast, including a number of men who performed in drag. The show quickly took on a life of its own, spawning first a national tour, and then a movie, and then an international tour to entertain the troops abroad in Europe, North Africa, and the South Pacific. During the 3 years that Irving Berlin performed and toured with that show, approximately 2.5 million soldiers and civilians saw that show. But before the United States even entered the war, when Hitler was just coming to power, Irving Berlin felt called to craft an American anthem of both patriotism and of peace. So in 1938, he took a song that he had originally written back in 1918 at that World War I Army camp, and he revised the lyrics, creating a stirring vision of all that he loved about his adopted home. We invite you to join us in singing.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Thank you. So one of Irving Berlin's great gifts as a songwriter was writing for specific performers, writing songs that would fit their particular voice, their particular style, their particular everything. He wrote signature songs for some of the larger-than-life performers of his day, for Ethel Merman on Broadway, and for Fred Astaire in Hollywood. He wrote this next song not only to match Fred Astaire's sort of understated singing style, but also to fit the scene in which he would perform it in the film, in the 1935 film Top Hat. Now, a standard Tin Pan Alley song has a pretty specific structure, A-A-B-A, but Irving Berlin elongated the structure to better fit the long dance sequence of the scene, so this song structure follows A-A-B-B-C-A. See if you can follow that structure as we perform cheek to cheek.
I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak, and I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek.
is from the very first stage musical that Irving Berlin wrote, the 1914 production called Watch Your Step, which ran for 175 performances. Now, getting the show produced on Broadway was a big moment for Irving Berlin. This was the first Broadway show written by a Tin Pan Alley songwriter in a time when German-style operettas were more the fad on Broadway. This song is also the first of several counterpoint duets that Irving Berlin wrote, a duet where two different melodies come together in the final stanza.
In days of yore before the war, when hearts now old were young, at home each night by firelight, those dear old songs were sung. Sweet melodies, those memories around my heart still cling. That's why I long to hear a song like Mother used to sing. Won't you play a simple melody like my mother sang to me? One with good old-fashioned harmony. Play a simple melody.
Musical demons at your honey of dreaming, won't you play me some rag? Just change that classical nag to some sweet, beautiful drag. If you will play from a copy of a tune that is choppy, you'll get all my applause. And that is simply because I want to listen to rag. Musical demons at your honey of dreaming, won't you play me some rag? Just change that classical drag to some sweet, beautiful drag. If you will play from a copy of a tune that is choppy, you'll get all my applause. And that is simply because I want to listen to rag. Musical demons at your honey of dreaming, won't you play me some rag? Just change that classical nag to some sweet, beautiful drag. If you will play from a copy of a tune that is choppy, you'll get all my applause. And that is simply because I want to listen to rag. So this next song comes from Irving Berlin's most successful Broadway show, that being Annie, Get Your Gun. Now, a little backstory behind this show. The producing team of Rodgers and Hammerstein had originally hired Jerome Kern to write the music for their adaptation of the story of Annie Oakley, which was already set to star Ethel Merman. But Jerome Kern passed away suddenly in 1945, so they recruited their friend Irving Berlin instead. Now, Berlin resisted at first. He had just come off a grueling 3 years with This Is the Army, and he wasn't confident about writing what he called cowboy genre songs for the show. Well, Richard Rodgers asked him to just take the book, fool around with it, see what he thought. And so Irving Berlin did just that. Holed up in a hotel with the book, Irving Berlin realized that at its core, the show was about show business, a place where he felt completely at home. So, within a week, he had written 6 songs for the show, including the song that would become a Broadway anthem, There's No Business Like Show Business. The show was Irving Berlin's greatest Broadway success, running for 1,147 performances and launching a record 9 new hit songs.
Don't ask me just how it happened. I wish I knew. I can't believe that it happened and still is true. I got lost in his arms.
Hollywood came calling for Irving Berlin, he was already the most successful Tin Pan Alley and Broadway songwriter of the day. But he would go on to even broader success with the great Hollywood musicals of the 1930s and 1940s. And in fact, we can't think of the stars of that golden era of the Hollywood musical, stars like Fred Astaire, like Judy Garland, like Bing Crosby, without also hearing Irving Berlin's songs. So this last set of songs are drawn from Berlin's work in the golden age of the Hollywood musical. The first from the 1927 Al Jolson feature, The Jazz Singer, and the second from the 1936 Fred Astaire film, Follow the Fleet.
I was blue, just as blue as I could be. Every day was a cloudy day for me. Then good luck came a knocking at my door. Skies were gray, but they're not gray anymore. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see.
so much for welcoming us into this wonderful space to share with you some of the Great American Songbook. We want to thank the Friends of Four Seasons Theater who helped provide the financial backing for us to do our outreach programming in the community. We invite you to visit our website, fourseasonstheater.com, to learn about upcoming events. And we'd like to leave you with one last song from Irving Berlin, a song about the business that he loved so well.